Hello everyone, and Happy New Year's! Hope all of you have been enjoying the occasion. Today we're going to be going over the Lust for Life Gems of War event, in which the Sibyl of Lust has been added to the game, so let's get into that. As far as the Arcane Tradestone, it is a pretty decent one, red-purple. You could use that earlier on in the game for Miststalker. In mid-game, you'd probably want to use it for soul farming, so getting things like Azurus and an Umberwolf fully traded, and then of course just Mythics from there. As far as what this thing does, it is really insanely bad. I don't know why they made it so bad. As you guys know, a couple weeks ago we got that Leprechaun that has empowered with a bunch of explosions. This is basically less effective, not only in that it does less explosions, but that it's also dependent on daemons, and that the fact that it's also not empowered. Even if this thing was empowered, it probably wouldn't be worth it. I'm not exactly sure what this thing is supposed to be used for. You'd pretty much just use Leprechaun in 100% of instances instead of this. But yeah, I guess maybe for some events where you're restricted on Sinner Mirage, Zejin, or Mystic maybe, but that's about it. That or for farming 5 Glory this week with it. But other than that, it is pretty pitifully bad, so I would not really bother with it other than for the Glory farming for this particular week. Speaking of that, as far as all the event-related stuff, we have 10% to all Sinner Mirage, as well as 10% to all Daemons, so basically 20% to all of the entire kingdom, because every single thing in that kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, is indeed a Daemon, so basically just 20% down the entire line. As I mentioned, you do get 5 extra glory per PvP win that you do with her. Given that she's so bad, you're most likely just going to want to do her on 1 trophy PvP, most likely by constantly repicking casual PvP would be the easiest way to go get that. So that's about the only thing you'd really use her for, and that would only be this week. And other than that, we got to go do a bunch of treasure hunt, unfortunately. So if you want to go get all these rewards, still quite a bit of decent rewards. You can get a lot of gem farming. Not only does treasure maps normally accumulate a lot of gems, but there's several gems just laying there, as well as gem keys specifically. So I'd still advise doing it and try fitting them in at some point during the week. Anyways, as far as event keys, there's not anything too noteworthy in it. It's just Sinner Mirage, so there's nothing too over the top. The only thing I would say maybe do is if you're a early game player and you currently don't have Gluttony, you might want to open some keys to try to get yourself 1 copy of Gluttony. It's a nice little Devour option. Maybe even get a few of them, like 2 of them. There are some teams that can run multiple, but it's the best early game Devour option that you're really going to have. He has 20%, but he has a few explosions that will allow him to constantly keep killing stuff. And you can upscale that to kill pretty much anything in the game, assuming that they can be devoured. Might just take a little bit, but they are pretty good at eventually winning against higher level content. And then just use something like a Dragonian Monk or some kind of other barrier or Cockatrice or something to keep them protected so that they don't end up dying, and so that you can get them up to that point where they start getting devours. Anyways, event keys for the most part, not really worth it. The only 2 legends is Lust, which is useless, and Wrath, which is normally you just use Gorgulfa instead. As far as guild, we of course have the whole Tower of Doom thing. I'll be showing a few teams like we always do in a little bit, and later tonight during the stream, we'll be just going through that as far as all the battles. But the only thing that we really got coming in are the Flame Doom. This isn't really anything too special, same thing as all the other Dooms. It's pretty much just an irrelevant troop that they add, that we still keep getting, that we actually do need to upgrade for kingdom purposes, unfortunately. But oh well. And as far as the weapon, it's the same standard weapon as all the other ones, except this one, of course, is red. It just does the damage to all enemies, +1 per tempering level. Tempering level means whatever the upgrade is, so if it says +5, it literally just does +5 extra damage, basically whatever the upgrade number ends up saying there. And it just transforms all blue to Doom Skulls, and just does everything else based on red, as every other color normally would. But nothing really too special. There might be some instances where it gets used similar to all the other Doomed weapons, but for the most part, they're kind of underwhelming, most of the Doom weapons, mainly because the only instance where you'd really bring them out is for the final Battle of Doom, given that they get that 5 extra Doom Skull bonus. That makes them kind of like a little mini Shegra in a way, just with Doom Skulls. As far as event-related stuff, we do have several things this week. Tomorrow we end up having the Crypt, if you want to go get more farming done in that. On Wednesday we'll have the Fae, Little Fairy. On Thursday, we'll be having the Undead for the Necromancer hero class, which is really good with soul farming related teams, as well as the trait stones available for soul farming this week, so you kind of have both of them simultaneously. And we have Bounty Hunter this weekend, which is a good time to go get orbs, as well as vault keys, as well as pretty much everything, assuming you have a Yagway and decent enough stats to actually get through Bounty Hunter, though you can do low-level Bounty Hunter grinding if you wanted to, though it costs quite a bit more gems. Anyways, Soulforge stuff. There's nothing really too relevant this week in Soulforge. There are 2 that you may consider, but for the most part, I would say this is a good week to just skip Soulforge. But there are 2 that you might consider. It's Arachnean Weaver. It's pretty good in Delves. Pretty much the only thing it's really used for. It is used with true damage teams occasionally, But until bleed becomes very big, that's not going to be a thing. Though there are going to be more bleed options being added before Arachne Weaver will be added back into the drop table. So maybe you might want to consider it for that, because once bleed becomes available on several troops that can do it at 100% rate, the meta might start shifting to bleed slightly. We'll have to see. I'm pretty sure cleanse spam will just get rid of it, but still, a stack of 10 bleed or a 4 bleed doing 10 damage per turn on top of being able to do true damage into a gigantic explosion is probably going to be pretty decent, so might want to look out for that. Other than that, it's mainly just used with Megavore and Delves, or even just simply used in Delves for the fact that it webs all enemies. It's currently the only option, or at least the most viable option in the game currently, for webbing the entire enemy team. Anything that's webbed cannot gain magic for its duration, as well as has 0 magic for the duration. That doesn't mean its ability does nothing, it just means whatever is magic based on the ability, which is highlighted in purple, will just be brought down to 0. So for example, if this thing got cursed and then webbed, it would only have 5 damage instead of 32, but it would still do all the other effects. Anyways, other than that, it's one of the better imperviouses as well. Grim I would still say is the absolute best, but still a really nice one. Has that stealthy impervious combo, and the main thing that actually makes it pretty good in Delves is that a 75% chance to summon a web spinner every single time an enemy dies, and they did buff this, I believe, 2 patches ago, in that the web spinner now does triple damage not only on poison, but also on web, which isn't really relevant for web spinner, but it's really irrelevant for Arachne Weaver, because obviously you're webbing every single time you end up casting this, so you end up getting that kill, get the summon, and then you're doing triple damage immediately off the web spinner, assuming it's going to first slot. So it's a pretty nice combo, but mainly it's just a thing that helps you out with Delves for the most part, which you could also use for Tower of Doom if it was a related week, though of course you can't use it this Tower of Doom because it's red, and that thing is not red. But anyways, let's go over and show a bunch of various teams for several things. First off is the team I'm most likely going to be running for, at least initially, for the Tower of Doom. It is Rock Troll, Dark Troll, Grim, and Infernus. I used to use this team quite a lot when this combo was very popular, but it still ends up getting the job done. All you really need to do is get Rock Troll up, then Dark Troll, and then just loop Grim infinitely, kind of like pretty much any Grim loop team. It does require 2 mythics, but one of them was available the other week, and Infernus is generally the first thing you craft, so hopefully you have that around. If not, we will be showing some slightly cheaper options. Worst comes to worst, the general way to get away, to kill most of the things would just be to use a Yagway if you have, and base it around that, or Queen Titania, or really any of the heavy reds. There are quite a few reds out there that can end up accumulating quite a bit of damage. This time around, it looks like we just did not want to get the loop down, but doesn't even want to give us a surge. It would help if I don't take that, or if I do take that, I mean. But we'll go get this. Should be able to land that with that menu on the board. And it looks like we can finally get the loop going here. We do have the triple burn. We don't have the quad burn because he does have that impervious. No way we can really deal with that though. Cast the Grim first. Even if it misses, we can simply just go double. And it looks like we finally have the loop. Took a little bit, but it looks like we have a decent enough board to actually keep it going now. Or at least for a little bit. We can't really get that double there, so we'll just go use the Infernus. Get that down. Burns will kill whatever else out there. Looks like we'll get another hit. We can keep reducing down their attack pretty much to 0 with extra turn spam. It's something we'll probably be running for the first 15 floors, I want to say. Most likely until we have to switch into Mang and other similar things that end up upscaling pretty well. But generally for the lower level stuff, you always want to go AoE stuff, anything that can hit all enemies, just because it tends to go a lot quicker than trying to kill them one at a time by other means. Anyways, the +5 glory, might as well show that next. So this you'd most likely just keep repicking casual 1 trophy PvP, and of course just put any team with a Lust on it, the Sibyl of Lust. As far as the exact team, doesn't really matter too much. I guess it kind of depends on if you're 1 trophy spamming or not. But basically all you have to do is get her mana up immediately, throw the explosion down. I showed her in a Daemon team just because I figured might as well. It's the only thing she's really good in. It's kind of weird that you have to use her in a Daemon team. Well, you don't have to, but you know, she's going to be way, way weaker otherwise. It seems like a really trivial troop. I don't know why they even made it like that. It's pretty underwhelming, but oh well. Pick the skull there. Yagway, dead. And we get 5 extra glory just for having her sit there. And we pretty much win at the same time we'd always would, and we end up getting that little bit extra glory there. But yeah, if you want to farm glory with that method, you can just keep repicking 1 trophies until they're ridiculously weak. And just do fire bombs or whatever super weak 1 trophy you have. And just keep repeating that for all the glory. Other than that, what other ones do we have here? Oh yeah, the Fairy Fire version of this. This would be the cheaper version. It uses 3 legendaries, still kind of similar to the previous team, except not exactly a loop. Do we do it against this? Sure, why not? We'll go against this one. Shouldn't matter too much. He does have that one immune to burn. It does matter that they have immune to burn. It mattered on the previous one because of our loop, and it matters on this one because we have Fairy Fire, which means we'd be doing a little bit more damage if they didn't have immune. But oh well, we'll go take a thing over there, grab Skull. Ideally, we'd want to get Mountain Crusher up immediately, or Divinia, either or. So we'll get that, throw another Mountain Crusher. The last little bit of our mana. Divinia ends up increasing the damage off of Yagway since it's based on HP. So we'll get more damage that way and just clear out the board and hopefully get alignment off it. If not, it'll just feed mana right back into another cast. Looks like we'll just get that and keep tanking with that. I'm not currently using Titan, but you would want to use Titan with this, of course, just because you'd constantly gain barrier every single round. And let's see. If we have 13 plus, we could go for that. Doesn't look like it, so we'll just throw this. And we'll throw her. Oh, never mind. That's already enough damage because we keep getting more and more HP. Oh, and I didn't even notice. He does have 10% this week as well for a little bit of extra stats, just in case he ends up needing it for anything. Was there any other team I forgot? I think there was one more I wanted to do. I didn't want to do this team, but I did want to show it real quick. For this Thursday, we are going to be having, as I mentioned, the Undead event for the Necromancer hero class. So there's a few ways you can run this. The main way I'm probably going to be running it is a +2 brown, +1 purple, -1 yellow with a main Keeper of Souls and double Azurus. If you do not have a Keeper of Skulls, you can go Skeleton. If you do not have the Azuruses, you can end up going Wall and just go triple Wall of Bones. So either of those three teams would end up working out pretty decently. With triple Wall of Bones, you can just keep spamming it. It gives 5 mana to all other allies. And you can just keep spamming this, get Mang all the way to full mana, throw a Mang, and keep repeating the cycle. And obviously, again, you'd want to use Titan for this, just because it gains barrier every round, and it'll make sure you'd be able to tank all the higher damage. But yeah, any of those three teams would end up working out pretty well for this Thursday event. But anyways, guys, that's everything that I wanted to go over. I hope you all enjoy New Year's Eve, and 2019. I will see you all later. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. And goodbye, everyone. Enjoy the holidays.